What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today once again we'll be talking about Rise of Iron. So this video is going to be crammed with tons of random bits of information and features that of course coming from Game Informer and their impressions of playing with the expansion. So I've already made videos covering pretty much all the big aspects of Rise of Iron, and you can find those videos on my channel, but this one is going to be focused on a ton of really cool details about the expansion. So first off, Lord Saladin is going to be selling new iron engrams, and these are going to reward you with some of the older year 1 and year 2 armor pieces. And I'm a little bit confused about the year 1 armor bit, if that means they'll drop at year 3 light levels and be fully infusable, or if it's just for collection purposes who want to kind of have a full set. But they weren't exactly sure, so I'm assuming they will be infusable. And my guess is that the color of these engrams will probably be brown if they're based off iron. I can't think of any other color that makes sense for an iron engram, so I'm assuming that these ones will be brown. So pretty cool for people who want to collect some year 1 or year 2 class items and armor. So next up, Shiro 4, who is a vendor in the Felwinter Peak social space. He's going to have some class items from the old year 1 iron banner up for sale. So they mentioned the Mantle of Perun for the Hunter in the House of Wolves iron banner, the Yolda's Iron Sash for Titans in Vanilla iron banner, and also Felwinter's Iron Bond from Warlocks, which is also from the House of Wolves iron banner as well. So lots of year 1 items, and also of course last week in Game Informer's Felwinter Peak video, they showed off Sidama's Iron Sash for the Titan, which is from the House of Wolves. So a ton of year 1 class items that Shiro is going to be selling. So Bungie have also said that every single class item that has ever existed in Destiny except for the raid ones will now be dropping in the loot tables and at Rise of Iron light level, which is amazing news and definitely good for customization. And also of course they're going to be working with shaders, as I've already covered. So this of course is really good to hear. I've dismantled a ton of my really nice looking cloaks from year 1 due to how little the vault space was back then. I only kept a few of my really favourite ones, like the Mantle of Gjallarhorn for the Iron Banner, and also the original Shattered Vault Cloak. This is really good news. Of course, now we're going to get a bunch more class items, and some of the best looking ones from year 1 in the loot tables. So on the topic of vault space, unfortunately it's bad news, and Bungie said they had no current plans to further expand the vault space. That may have changed since Game Informer's visit a while back, but I really think they should, and I think it's definitely needed if we're going to get a bunch more of these items, and especially seeing as the reason we couldn't get more vault space back in the day was legacy consoles, which are of course being dropped. So I don't see any reason why we aren't going to be getting them, and especially with the amount of stuff we're going to be getting in this expansion, it's definitely needed. They gave us like 3 new pages just for the April update alone, so I see no reason why they won't give us some for the expansion. So maybe it's just something they haven't thought of much, and hopefully they'll do a last minute patch that boosts the vault space. They also talked about how all the year 2 items are going to be infusable in Rise of Iron completely, and they discussed if they think it's going to be a problem that nobody is going to want to use the new gear if they've still got amazingly rolled at year 2 items. So I'll discuss this in a video a few weeks back, and I talked about how I wonder what the incentive is going to be to make us use this new Rise of Iron gear, because when it comes to the raid, we're of course going to use some of these amazing year 2 favourites, but they said that Bungie is working really hard to make sure the Rise of Iron gear is extra special and a really good incentive to make us want to try out new things. So skeleton keys, which I've already talked about in detail, you can carry up to 5 of those, and it appears that is the limit, which is pretty interesting. You can't just save up like 20 of them and then go get 20 strike loot items. You need to make sure you use them pretty regularly. So talking about those artifacts, the Iron Lord ones, you might remember the Radagast one, which allows your sword to deflect bullets in incoming fire. So as it turns out, your supers will also be reflected by this sword with the Radagast artifact, which is really funny, and that was clarified on Twitter by Christopher Barrett, who said that all supers incoming, including Nova Bombs, Sunbreaker Hammers, and even the Shadow Shot Tether, will be reflected. So I really want to see this in action. It's going to be hilarious. Imagine like a Nova Bomb bouncing back off someone with a sword and coming right back at your team. It's really dangerous and definitely really interesting for gameplay. It probably won't happen much in Trials because not many people are stupid enough to use supers in a heavy round, but in normal Crucible, it'll probably happen a few times, and it's definitely going to be really funny. So next up, they talked about the record book and how much they liked it. It was a really good way to track your progress, and they said it felt really good. They said it's account based as well, so you can complete the challenges on any character. So if you hit the threshold for the Iron Lord helmet, for example, you'll get a single Hunter, Warlock, and also Titan helmet, and if you play 3 Guardians with the same class, they'll all have to share. So this seems a bit weird to me, and like it cuts down the replayability of Rise of Iron a little bit. I feel like one of the best things with the Taken King was completing all the quests on your main character, and you still had 2 more characters to go through, which are different experiences. But this time around, Rise of Iron is going to be a little bit different. The quests will be the same, but your record book, once you complete it once, that's pretty much all of it done, and all your other characters will automatically get the rewards. So now for a random fact, it turns out that Bungie actually consulted with some wolf conservationists before putting them into the game, and some of the sounds they're going to make are going to be directly from that group, which is really cool. So these wolves are going to be very realistic, and of course Bungie's attention to detail is always spot on with these things. So talking about some of the areas in the Plaguelands, there's one area called Lord's Watch, which is apparently a massive bluff that overlooks the entire zone, and you can see some of the places you're going to visit. so it sounds like it's got a really cool view, just like the one in Felden's Peak. There's also a World War II looking missile silo, which is like a bunker area, and also a massive foundry, which is that ball torn from the Golden Age colony ship, and the splicers are trying to retrofit it. Some of the chests that you're going to find will be trapped with mines and other bad stuff like poison, so that sounds like a load of fun. And also there are new public events like a fight against a splice-up walker tank, and also some other ambient events, like one spot with a hive ambushing a bunch of splicers. So next up, they talked about a giant flaming fortress in the distance of the Plaguelands, which turns out to be Archons Forge, and this apparently feels a little bit like Court of Oryx, but the play sessions are a bit longer, and also reminded them of Gears of War's Horde mode, and apparently other players can join in if they wish, just like the Court of Oryx, and if you die, you get kicked out to the entrance, which the door is locked so you can't get back in, so you need to wait for someone to revive you, and that's always the better option. And there's also brand new Forge-specific armor and weapons, which will drop at the end game light levels, and also that the armor from Archons Forge is apparently sleek and futuristic, which contrasts the old-fashioned medieval and Viking aesthetic of the Iron Lord and Iron Banner armor. So also hidden in the Plaguelands are going to be fragments which are tied to the new Gjallarhorn quest, which apparently is really fun, and that also leads you to establish PvP zones like Bannerfall and Skyshock where you fight Fallen there, and then apparently once you get your Gjallarhorn finally, there's a pretty amazing opportunity to try your new toy once you have it. So they also talked about Trials of Azaris and how the brand new weapons are completely new and they're not reskins like Gear 1 and 2, they're completely new models and there's something fun to pursue. And also Trials is going to be returning shortly after Rise of Iron's launch, so I'm assuming that'll be the same weekend that your hard mode raid launches, seeing as it's going to drop 400 light level gear. So the final thing is about Eververse. She's going to have new emotes, of course, as you'd expect, and also these special artifacts for your Guardian that are targeted at people making in-game movies. There's a Golden Age lens, which adds a sepia tint, which is basically like that brown tint you'd see in like an old-fashioned film, and also one that adds a blue tint, apparently, and a few other colors as well. So these, of course, are going to be in your artifact slot, but obviously they're just cosmetic and just for fun, like making videos, as opposed to the other artifacts which actually give you power and abilities. So there we have it, a bunch of random Rise of Iron info. Hope you guys enjoyed the video as always. If you did, then a like rating on the video would be much appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because I've got a lot of really awesome videos coming next week, so stay tuned on this channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.